It's been 8 years in town, but I think it's been 7 years since you and I had that fateful drink at the Imperial where we discussed what's possible in this town and realizing at that point that art is a very strong magnet for a town like this. And art was kind of predictable Eastern Shore art, nothing against anybody who was practicing here. That's about what it was. But there were those who were pushing forward. I mean, I could name sculptors and painters here who were pushing beyond the typical. And it was important that they got encouraged that there was going to be a field, a much broader field of application if there was some kind of resource to push it. And I think that's what our conversation basically was about. And it gave me a lot of impetus because I was just then starting to think about SANDBOX and what SANDBOX could do. And it's turned out that SANDBOX has been kind of a catalyst for a lot of things that have happened, you know. And I'm very proud of that. What SANDBOX did was to bring a third element to town, because you had Carlo Massoni's gallery, which is professional art, and you had River Arts, which really came on strong in the community art sense. I mean, they've done so much in the past few years. And then you had SANDBOX, or have SANDBOX, which is the experimental and showing people what contemporary exploration in the arts can be. And not only the arts, but the arts and sciences, bringing those two things together. And I think it challenged people. I think some people didn't know what to make of it, and that's always a good sign that you're on the edge of something. It was a 3-year grant for a sizable amount of money, and it made us able to do things we wouldn't have otherwise. Yeah. The main thing it helped us do was to move downtown and have a space downtown. And I keep coming back to this because it's where the liveliness occurred. It's where the artists would meet. It's where the scientists would come to meet the artists. It's where we could show on First Fridays. Yeah. And once that first sculpture is there, the David Hess sculpture in Wilmer Park, people are going to see how wonderful it is to have not just the thoughts about these things, but things themselves there. Yeah. I mean, to have a sculpture of that magnitude at that point is going to be a real incentive for the next one and the next one. Mm-hmm. Really, the Hess sculpture, broad reach, is the result of so many people coming together to make that thing happen. Yeah. So you know the hunger is there for stuff to happen. The other thing we're really proud about lately is the mural coming in on Morgue Neck Road. SANDBOX got back our two favorite muralists, Jessie Unterhalter and Katie Truen from Baltimore, who are two dynamic women who led this whole mural creation on Morgue Neck Road. And it was really pretty phenomenal. We had 45, 50 students, not only from the college, but from Kent County middle schools. And we did it in partnership with CPIP and with River Arts. So it, again, brought the artistic community together. And it was phenomenal to watch. In 2 days, creating this major mural, which is absolutely lovely. I mean, they've done a hell of a job. So we have one coming up with C.V. Starr, and that's D.J.Spooky. And D.J.Spooky will excite, challenge, surprise. I don't use this term very often, but if there's genius matter in the world, he's got a good amount of it.
I'm going to begin my discussion today with an invocation of one of my favorite philosophers and mathematicians and scientists. Not the gentleman you see behind me, but one that's from Italy, from Florence, Galileo, who essentially says, basically, that the universe is written in mathematics. Now, I'm beginning my discussion with Galileo, but invoking Buckminster Fuller, precisely because there's a juxtaposition. Each of them thought that the world could be transformed through increasing knowledge. So, when I begin a discussion with something like Buckminster Fuller and saying love is omni-inclusive, you have to imagine that there's a component of design, a component of architecture, and above all, a component that the idea that information itself is about compassion and sharing. Nothing.
In fact, I'm very happy about what we've been able to do in 3 years at SANDBOX. I mean, we've had some extraordinary artists here, some extraordinary scientists here. We've had faculty working with faculty. We've had faculty working with students. We've sent students to New Zealand, to London. I mean, we've done all sorts of things that It's really added a lot of generative power to the soup, going back to the soup, you know.
In developing a town, it's kind of like making a soup. You have to know how basic and authentic a soup you want. And if you're really making something, if you're developing or if you're making a soup, you want it to be authentic to place. So the first thing you do is, with a soup, is you go out and you get those vegetables and those things that you can put into this soup that are authentic and appropriate to the area you're making the soup. If you did this in the Southwest, it'd be different from doing it here. Those things going together in a really understood proportion, right? So you're really understanding the proportion of this element to that element, and then cooking it just right is proper development.
I think Sean and I have had great fun, haven't we, Sean?
I'd agree.
I mean, people coming in to see dead birds. I mean, you'd never expect, but it's always interesting, and you get these great links to different places. People who come in totally unexpectedly. And like the show we had of Sam Drogy's Being Up Close, all about bees. We had so many beekeepers come in who all of a sudden realized, gosh, not only are they bees, but look, when they're blown up this way, because they were, some of these images were fantastic. It's art too. I mean, that can all be a part of it, But all the pieces are here. All the pieces are here. And I hope fervently that the college and the town really have dialogue, really have a handshake. And we tried to do that with SANDBOX, and I think we were very, very successful.
And I have this great dream, really. I don't think it's just a dream, I think it's a possibility of having artists come here to do work in a new field, which is environmental art. And Chestertown having this wonderful environment, which is like a wonderful sandbox that artists can work in and do things in different places. That would also be a draw for Chestertown and make Chestertown unique. It would bring a totally new aspect